Good morning, guys. Welcome to this Thursday in March 26th. And it's heading south. It is heading south. Looks like we're getting closer to the weekend, and looks like the Iranians are not playing ball, which probably was not a huge surprise. But I guess it's gonna be done the hard way. So market is starting to price that in, I think. Oil is trading higher. Um, we've been slowly grinding lower all overnight here. Yesterday was like one of those days which it felt like a holding day. Wasn't really the any follow through on the overnight excitement we had from the day before. And now they pretty much heading it right back down and grinding lower again. So I'm thinking more weakness at this point. I thought we had a shot at maybe a little bit of excitement, but the fact that there's no actual, or should I say, there's no news coming out on any positive talks. It's yes, okay, they started talking, I guess, and yes, it's not going anywhere. So in the bigger picture, I think we're going to be seeing some more weakness here before it gets better. That's kind of the I think what is lining up here. Um, News this morning. At 8:30 we get jobless claims. 10:30 we have we have a nat gas report, and at 1 we have a 7-year auction. So not a whole lot of news to drive the market today. So I think we're going to see a volatile day again, mostly to the downside. I'm thinking it's given the overnight. If that's an indication, yeah, going to be more weakness in front of us. So let's hold on. And I would start off today trading this from the short side of the market. Just if they get down here to the 30s, to these lower support areas, I would potentially look for a buying opportunity. But right now, I'm looking to sell strength, rotations down. So looking to sell against that 66.10. Okay, well, the first one we've already taken that out. So 65.95, 68.10, 68.20s, 68.30s up to that 66, 68, 60. And did I say 68, 66? 20s, 66, 30, 66, 45s. This is 35s. So 66, 45s, 35s, 25s, 05s. Then we at 65.95. So those are the areas I'm looking for short setups again initially. If they get up above the 35s, then we're taking out this area of resistance, which is it's a good congestion area on the capital flow chart. And I would be a little bit more inclined to change my bias. But right now, looking for short setups all the way up to the session highs, and that is the overnight session highs. And then we'll see on the way down. Not going to be very aggressive on buying this. It could be buying opportunities against the 65.80s, 65.70s, 65.60s, and then you have the 40s, the 25s, and the 65.15s here on the lower end of the range. So any of those could potentially hold for buying opportunity. I'm just not going to be very aggressive on it. If they start heading lower like this, and they start pushing the lows, what I would potentially trade as from the long side would be a snapback kind of a trade where you're looking at you really run it lower and then it starts heading higher and then you start getting a real like little snapback to the upside. That could be a potential long trade. That would be and you're probably looking at more of a V bottom if that happens. It's not going to be a nice shot like nice retest failure kind of thing. If they take this lower and a pretty good clip, you're probably going to be have to trade a V bottom, something like this. I mean, when it trades line like this and then snaps back quite a bit, that kind of thing. If that's as I said, if they start trading up above that 35s and 45s, so 66.35 and 66.45, I would be looking at changing my bias. But initially looking to get for short setups against early strength, rotations down again. On the Nasdaq, we're pretty much in the same spot. A week overnight, not much to lean against. So it feels very much like a risk-off kind of a day is in front of us. So looking to sell strength there as well. Up to the session highs. Well, the session highs, yeah, it's going to be right here at that resistance area at the 360s. So looking for short setups against the 190s, the 240s, 290s, 350s, 420s for rotations down, and looking to buy against support with a bit of caution. And I mean, the Nasdaq is quite just at that support at the 120. So we have two levels here potentially could hold, the 120s and the 24,090s. So this could still hold. And if it holds, I think we can potentially trade back up a little bit, but it comes out, just stay on the short side and then look out below. That kind of thing is kind of the dynamic right now. If they hold, starts trading higher, I would still look to sell against strength, even if they test this support area first, all the way up to the 360 level. Probably include the 420 as well. If they start taking out both of these resistance areas, that's when I really start thinking, okay, maybe we have a little strength building. And then again, I mean, the day is starting off looking pretty shitty, so it could be a day like it could certainly turn around and turn into a little rally. It could just be one headline. One headline comes out and everything changes in a heartbeat. So it's how quickly I think the sentiment can change. But if you don't get any headlines and we don't get anything else happening, I think it feels very much like we are in a risk-off kind of a day right now. Oil is trading higher. Just for your information, this is oil. Yes, they blew through the 93s. We're trading up to 94 right now. So yeah, so oil is on a tear to the upside. That's most likely why we're seeing more of a risk-off kind of a day. So that's where we get started. It's both ES and Nasdaq starting off with a bias to the downside. They're going to sell strength and watch that session high. If that comes out, then we potentially could shift our bias. Right now, looking at a little bit of a pullback. That's nice, and let's see how that whole thing develops. But right now, risk off kind of a day, looking to sell strength. A good indication, London high. So on the Nasdaq, the 290s to 300s. On the ES, going to be the 69.20 or 66.25s. If they come out, you'll get an early indication that we may have a little bit of strength building. But as I said, I'm going to still look to sell strength all the way up to the session highs before I start shifting my bias. So that's where we are now. Retracement like we see right now, and they ran it down here right into that 8 o'clock hour, and then now we have a pretty good retracement. Those are very tradable. I mean, but as you can see, it's a V bottom. So I mean, you have to be reasonably aggressive on your trade. And so if you're bouncing off a support area, which we were on both levels, bouncing off a support area, trying to find trade location, the best you can do on one of those is to try to get in at the mode or the mean on the prior bar. That's as aggressive as you need to be. Now, sometimes in this case the mode happened to be high, sometimes you never hit the mode, sometimes it never happens. So it's at that point you're just not going to get in. So you're looking at this whole thing to stop, and then start trading higher, and then you're looking for the pullback, and then you're looking for the mean mode of that prior bar. That is around about as aggressive as you can make your entry, but it is an aggressive entry. Sometimes it just runs up here and peaks above the prior bars, looks like it's going to go, and then it has to hammer it again. So that's as I said, it's a reasonably risky trade. But if you're running hard, like you've been trending into a support area, and it looks like it's stalling, yeah, then by all means take a shot. I mean, if you're in at the mean and the mode, at least you can have a reasonably tight stop, and when you're wrong. If it starts taking out that low on the prior bar, you're wrong, and you should be out of that trade. So, not easy to trade the last few days. It's been pretty whippy, pretty volatile. So. And it makes it really difficult to wait in the opportunities. Most of the good ones, it gives you very little warning. It's that V bottoms, V tops, and then you have this continuous little algo pops back and forth where they shake out weak positions, which is just runs roughshod of the whole thing. So starting off with a bias to the downside on both of these guys. and let's see how far they can take it. If we're going to get some strength building, or if they, or how far they're going to try to push this lower. On the bond market, it looks to me like we have pretty much a risk-off day there as well starting. They've been trading lower in the whole long. You can see a slow grind to the downside. Not by any means falling out of bed, kind of dynamic, but definitely looks pretty weak. And they're trading back down below the 113. So watch that level. They start trading up above the 113 again. Maybe I shot at it, but at the reversing this. But I would look to sell against that 113.02, the 13.10s. For rotations down. Now, instead of trading above the 13.10s, probably taking off that short bias. But initially, I'm looking for shorts against that 113 to 113.02 and the 113.10s for rotations down. And let's see how that goes. Sometimes bond market is a little bit finicky. Sometimes it's a low of the day right at the open, and they never take it lower. A day like this, I mean, you saw it a few days back. Sometimes they just keep going. There's just no relief at all. They reprice in the market all to the downside. And given what we know, that it's the Iranians are not playing ball, and the market, the oil is trading higher, and a lot of uncertainty about what's going to happen this weekend. Because I think the 5-day deadline runs out on Friday, right? So this weekend could be pretty busy and pretty full of action. So we may look at more of a risk-off Thursday, Friday going into the weekend. So that's where we are. Alrighty, guys, we'll wrap it there now. And then we got news in about 10 minutes, 10, 12 minutes, jobless claims. I don't think that's going to do much. It hasn't been a big market mover for a while now. So we'll see. We are in for a little bit of weakness, or they're going to be able to make a stand. That's going to be the big question right from the get-go. But we know what to do. We know when to change our bias and when to stay on the short side. So. Alrighty, guys, we'll wrap it there, and I'll see you back at 11:30 for the next update. Later.